Hello, everybody. Just an impromptu live stream because I got something in the mail. And I thought I'd open it up with all of you because, you know, that's just fun, right? Just fun. Let's see. Who's in the comments today? Leave me a comment. Let me know that you're listening. And we'll just go ahead and open this up. Gonna mangle this here bubble wrap bubble mailer. I would pull up my scissors, but I don't know where they are at the moment. It's actually taking longer than I thought. There it is. Okay, what do you think it is today? I'll give you a hint. A look at the side here. Whoop. Iron Man. The Crossing. Whoops, upside down. One of the most controversial stories, maybe not controversial, infamous. One of the most infamous stories because everybody thinks it's terrible, but it's now in epic collection form. Personally, I never read Iron Man as a kid. Didn't care for him at all. Or the Avengers, really. I stuck to X-Men and Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. And so didn't care for Crossing, didn't read it. So I'm going to read it now that I've got an epic collection. This is apparently the first half of the Crossing. And the next volume of Iron Man will be the second half. And then all of this, I think, will be collected in the Avengers Epic Collections as well. So there's going to be some massive double dipping on the Crossing. But this is an important story for Iron Man. Important is a relative term, but important because Iron Man goes through some changes as a result of this one here. Let's see here. Paulo says, I am one of the few who likes this story. So there you go. And Jay also reminds us that this is Omar's favorite. Okay, let's see. Let's see what the back says here. Iron Man Murderer, volume 21. This one has a $50 price tag because it has a very high page count. It goes over 500 pages. So, yeah, let's see here. Patrick says, be ready for a grueling read. And this guy, Facebook user, very 90s. Very 90s indeed. So, yeah, you can see here, 1995 to 1996. Well, here's a good comment. I actually didn't mind that design for Hawkeye at the time. This one right here. Yeah, you know, it isn't bad. It's a little bit more modern just because he got rid of those weird wings he has on his cowl. Should we see some inside here? Oh, and stark contrast here. Stark contrast, nice pun. This guy says the Hawkeye costume. There were some awful costume designs in that period. I don't know if you're saying that Hawkeye is one of those awful costume changes or if it's one of the good ones, but it's not bad. It's nothing terrible about it. Let's see what's inside here, right? There he is, Iron Man. That's a lot of credits up here. And Abnett and Landing, because they were doing War Machine at the time. I mean, not War Machine, ForceWorks. They were doing ForceWorks at the time, and this has some ForceWorks issues, right? Yes, ForceWorks 16 to 20. If you have the old ForceWorks trade, it's called Avengers Iron Man ForceWorks. It's almost a complete collection. It has the first 19 issues of the series, or the first 15 issues of the series, I guess. I think this has the rest of them, the rest of the issues. Maybe there's a few more, I don't know. Scarlet Witch was, yeah, Scarlet Witch had a terrible costume at this time. Where is she? Right down here. Very terrible. They were just going for the sex appeal for sure. Avengers, new logo there. This is a typical X-Men scene, except we're seeing it from the Avengers' point of view. Lounging in the beach. It's Quicksilver, and you can see Lockjaw down there. Let's see what else is in here. You know what? It's not too bad. The artwork is actually pretty nice in this. Who is this first person who's in here? Mike Diodato and Tom Palmer as the inker. Okay, well there you go. That's going to elevate anybody's pencils, that's for sure. Very interesting. Oh boy, okay. Let's find one of those ForceWorks issues that we're talking about here. Oh, well, here's Iron Man. Here's the first Iron Man issue. And it's drawn by Tom Morgan. I had a fun Tom Morgan story. I used to work with him because he was working as a storyboard artist at an animation studio here in Vancouver for a little while. And so I was a PA for that picture. It was a movie called Space Chimps. It was a very, very, very terrible movie. Let's see, this one says, my nostalgia for ForceWorks is 100% the Iron Man cartoon from 1994. Never read these, looking forward to it. Yeah, it was weird how like the second season, especially of Iron Man, of that cartoon series, was pretty much all ForceWorks. How do you like this costume redesign for Thor? Oh boy. Now I need to see Spaceship. See if you can just find a clip of it on YouTube or something. You do not need to watch the whole thing, even though it's very early. Andy Samberg, he's the lead voice in that movie. Before he was super famous, he was still in his Saturday Night Live phase. Let's see here. It's kind of a cool panel or cool splash page. All the action at the bottom. You get a kind of a worm's eye view looking up. Lots of room for all of this text. Hopefully the text is interesting. Warren says, how you doing, Curtis? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a busy time coming off a spring break with the kids there. At, back at it. Okay, I said I was going to find some ForceWorks for you. There's one right there. ForceWorks. One of the many Force comics that came out of the 90s. X-Force, ForceWorks, and Fantastic Force. They really liked that force in... Of course, Fantastic Force was kind of a parody anyway. Tom DeFalco was joking around with that one. If you haven't heard my interview about the Fantastic Four with Tom DeFalco, you have to check that out because he talks pretty funny about trolling everybody with Fantastic Force. Is Space Chimps a cartoon movie? I saw it and thought it was bad. Circus Monkey joins space mission with other chimps. That's exactly the one. Yeah, it's not good. There you go. Doom Force. I don't even know Doom Force. Is that Doom Patrol? Oh boy. Yeah, so some of this is hit or miss. Some of this looks great. Some of it doesn't look great. I'll have to... Yeah, I don't know if the story itself will be good. Yeah, remember this era of War Machine when he was an alien? When an alien took over his armor? Very weird stuff. Is that the War Machine? Yeah, that's the War Machine we get in this story. The mid-90s were a weird time. I didn't mind this logo. Thought it was kind of cool, actually. Well, let's see what else I want to show you. So 90s. So extreme. XO Manowar ripoff. Yeah, that's right. That's a good analogy. That's pretty funny. This Iron Man, this redesign where he had these big, weird, bulky gloves. This is right before Heroes Reborn. So I think the next volume of Iron Man will be the last little bit of Iron Man before they jump into Heroes Reborn. Now, what do you think? Is Heroes Reborn going to be a classic era Iron Man epic collection or a modern era epic collection? Avengers: The Crossing. So, oh, that's just an advertisement. Oh man. Oh boy. What is this? What is this, everybody? I don't know. I want to see a War Machine epic collection. That would be kind of cool because those issues haven't been collected aside from like the first few. That'd be great. Bulky armor. Bah, bring back the roller skates. It doesn't say who said that. That sounds like a Phil Owens comment. You know, I actually did like the makeup of the ForceWorks team, the characters that were in it, because it was actually kind of a cool team. It had Spider-Woman, Jessica Carpenter Spider-Woman, and Scarlet Witch, and War Machine, and Black Widow. Was Black Widow part of it? No, she was on the Avengers. Sentry, this guy, he was kind of cool. There we go. Kurtis wins the 2003 Spot the Phil prize. Yes, there we go. Heroes Reborn should be a classic epic. Now, what about Heroes Return? Is that still classic, or is that where modern era starts for Iron Man? Or would you go through the Kurt Busiek stuff and maybe start... Who does Iron Man after Busiek? Is it... Does Fraction get a run? Matt Fraction? I can't remember. Is this going to be collected again in an Avengers line? You bet. Yes, it will, because it's actually an Avengers story, but it's also a very important Iron Man story. And if there are ever ForceWorks epic collections, I'm guessing that it won't be collected in full in ForceWorks. It will probably... In fact, you know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping that West Coast Avengers, the last 2 volumes of West Coast Avengers, are just the ForceWorks ones, because that's the same team, right? It's the same team. And so they can just keep that series going, just call it, you know, West Coast Avengers, and then the title is ForceWorks, and then the last one's like The Crossing or something, I don't know, but that's what I would want. And then this Facebook user says, I'll second that. Unless they're talking to this comment here, they should just make them all epics. I agree. I want ForceWorks in Avengers West Coast Avengers. It would make sense because it's the same team. It's the same creative team even. They literally just did a name change and started from number 1, but they should just lump them all in. Extremis should be the start of the modern epics. Oh yeah, that might be a good... What came before that? I don't remember. That's definitely a modern story though, for sure. That's a good starting point. Anyway, this one's coming out in May, in the middle of May. And so yeah, you will be able to get your dose of 90s goodness pretty soon. So Omar and I are going to be delivering some more epic announcements soon. We just have to wait for Marvel to finalize a few things. They've given Omar, I haven't seen the list, but they've given Omar the list up February until July. But they're still shifting things around. They know generally what they want to release and when they want to release it, but they're still, you know, making room. I don't know. It's a big juggling challenge, not just with the epics, but they have to consider the Omnis and the Masterworks and all of the modern trades and everything like that to make sure that everything gets spread out nice and evenly across the board, and that they have room at the printers when they go send them to the printers. So we'll be getting that info. And Omar says that Marvel is going hard with the modern era epic collections. I don't think it's going to affect the production of the classic era. We should be still getting the same amount of classic era epic collections, but there is going to be a hard push for the modern coming up in February. So 2024, if you are an epic completist, I think you're going to have to take a serious look at whether or not you want to be a modern era completist as well, because I have a feeling it's going to be doubling the input or the output of epic branded collections in 2024. It's going to be pretty wild. Okay, it says Forceworks 21 and 22 are orphaned. The thick trade has 1 to 15, and this epic has 16 to 21. So 21 and 22 are, this is not the entire crossing story. This is only the first part of it. So 21 and 22, those are wrap-up issues. Those aren't actually part of the crossing. So yeah, they are going to be orphaned. I don't know. They aren't going to have anywhere to stick those unless they stick it in West Coast Avengers. Really, that's what should happen. Glad to hear about the modern epics ramping up and getting love. I really think that we're going to see a lot of the main lines: Spider-Man, X-Men, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, all of those Avengers. I'm certain that we're going to get news. I haven't seen the list yet, so I can't say for sure, but I'm certain we're going to see the news of some of those lines starting, and will give us a good idea of where the starting points are going to be and where, how they're going to handle that kind of stuff. Let's see here. What if Marvel isn't going to reprint Bendis' New Avengers Omni? I hope they'll do them in the modern era. Well, the New Avengers Modern Era Epic Collection is actually coming out. In fact, in a couple of months. That one is on the schedule for August, I think. August or September. It's coming up soon. We're going to get New Avengers Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 1. And this Facebook user says, why is there a big push for modern epics? Do they think they're going to sell really well? I think they're going to sell great. I think people really do underestimate how much the modern stuff sells. It sells better than the classic stuff, let me tell you. Spider-Gwen is a huge seller. And characters like Deadpool and Venom and stuff like that stuff is, you look at the sales, I think on Comic-Con, if they post sales numbers, pre-order numbers and stuff like that, they're always way more than these ones, which are quite a bit lower down the list. Just to understand, this book does not include the complete saga. How are they going to complete it? Well, they're going to release Iron Man Epic Collection Volume 22. The Crossing is a huge story. It fits in an omnibus, so there's no way that they can fit the whole thing in one of these trades. They unfortunately have to. They have to stretch it out. So that's what they're going to do. The Epic has strong selling and moves old issues. Going to be big for some newer stuff. Yeah, you're right. It's strong selling. It has always been strong selling. Stronger than complete collection, stronger than the and I think it's because of all of you out there who are watching, because we've formed a really, really great community around it. We've really supported this, and I think it's fantastic that that Marvel has noticed and that they're expanding. And you don't have to buy the modern stuff if you don't want to. When does Iron Man Doom Epic Collection come out? That one, I'm gonna have to check my list here. Let me pull it up for you just a second. That reprint should be coming out any moment now, I think. Iron Man Doom next week. It's on the schedule for April 18th. It's coming out next week, the Doom reprint. Oh yeah, there you go. Some of you are already on the ball. There you go. Warren is hoping for some Dazzler epics sometime, or Spider-Girl, or Spider-Woman. I think that with Spider-Woman appearing, or a variant of Spider-Woman appearing in the new Spider-Verse movie coming up, I think there will be a renewed interest in Spider-Woman. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a modern era epic collection maybe in these announcements. That could be possible. But I bet you also Spider-Woman especially now that they've gone through the Masterworks. I can't remember if they finished, but they've gone pretty far in the Masterworks that they could at least give us the first volume of the classic Spider-Woman series. Dazzler too, it's going through Masterworks now as well. So we could see Dazzler. I think she's due for a big story or something like that. They should give her a big story. Then they can give us some Epic Collections to go for that as well. Yeah, I think it's almost done. Pretty sure it's almost done. Still waiting for Alpha Fun. Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for that too. That's one of the longest running. Now, you know what I think is happening with some of these really long series like Alpha Flight, Spectacular Spider-Man. We're so close to the end of things like Iron Man. There's only like 4 or 5 more volumes to go. And if they want to keep the line going for a while, I think they're saving these long ones until some of these other long ones are finished. Daredevil and Thor and Captain America, they only have about 4 volumes each left. They could, if they keep it at 2 a year, they could get that done in the next 2 years, believe it or not. And so if those ones wrap up, then there will be some spaces for some more long-running series. And then I think we can get Spectacular Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. T. Butler says, I pre-ordered X-Men Legacies on Amazon months ago, and apparently it's out of stock on Amazon literally the moment it released, so mine never shipped. Wow. So Amazon, I guess, didn't order enough copies. I would probably go to a different, see if you can order it through your local bookstore or comic shop or Barnes & Noble or Indigo or wherever you live. But yeah, the X-Men ones, they're good sellers. The X-Men ones go out of print pretty quick. But that means that a lot of people must have pre-ordered from Amazon after they had already placed their initial order from Diamond or whoever, Penguin Random House. But they'll get more. Amazon will get more, I'm sure of it. So you could probably just hold on, and hopefully they'll be able to help you out there. This Facebook user says, was happy that the Defenders Volume 1 came out. Yeah, and I think in this next round, I think there's a pretty good chance we'll see a Defenders Volume 2 on the schedule, because that one's due for another volume. The Invaders would be an interesting one in Epic Collection because it's a very short series. They could do it probably in 2 volumes. It's 2 volumes, because it had 4 trades, 4 skinny trades, and you could probably combine 2 of them into one. I don't know if it's high on their priority list, because they had those complete collections that came out a few years back, but you never know. Did you read Guardians of the Galaxy, and how would you rate it? I've read most of it, and it's a lot of fun. Steve Gerber is just a fun writer. He doesn't do anything too hard-hitting or anything like that. He's kind of goofy and a little weird, and Guardians of the Galaxy plays into that, especially like the Defenders issues are also written by Steve Gerber in that, and it's good. Amazon usually puts the pre-orders on sale when it's first posted to the site. You're able to get it at 33 Canadian. That is an amazing price for a Canadian Epic Collection. We never get deals like that. Oh yeah, don't cancel that pre-order then. If it's out of stock, just hopefully wait for them to get it back in stock, and because that's a really, really good deal. Okay, I think that's enough for this live stream. We've talked for a little while. I thank everybody for hanging out with me. And I was only going to do it for like 10 minutes, but you asked a lot of questions, so happy to chat with everybody. I'm going to do a bigger video about this one and run down the Iron Man Epic Collections, and so you can look forward to that. And I'm currently working on a Daredevil Epic Collection video, so I'm going to post that maybe today or tomorrow. Keep your eyes open for that one. Anyway, thanks everybody for paying attention to this and joining me for the live stream, and we'll see you next time.